How's it going, everyone? Blueknight here, and welcome back to the channel. More specifically, the very first episode of a series of videos on the channel where I attempt to answer some of your guys' questions about, well, just about anything. Now, before we get started, I just want to quickly bring up something. On this day, 2 years ago, marked the official start to this channel. That's already hard to believe that it's been that long already. I mean, wow. We've come a long way since then. Even the microphone I was using back then.
So, for a very long time I've wondered about the canonical value of Dre-specific Crash Bandicoot games.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't that good compared to this current one, 2 upgrades later. But on top of that, we are nearing the 2,000 subscriber point. Again, that's very impressive considering that we jumped from around 700 subscribers to 1,000 at the start of 2020. Now, 5 months later, we're drawing ever closer to 2,000. I mean, what can I say? You guys are awesome, and I seriously can't thank you guys enough for all the support you guys have shown for this channel in just the past 2 years. Whether you became a patron, a viewer, subscriber, a fellow community member, and or friend of the channel, I really appreciate all of that, because without you guys, the channel wouldn't even be where it is today. Thank you guys so much. Now, with that out of the way, let's get to the first question for this episode, which comes from a longtime subscriber of the channel, Connor Donahue. Well, it's technically 3 questions in one, so I'll answer them one at a time. The first one is, will you talk about other stuff on the channel like I suggest the Kingdom Hearts series? Well, concerning Kingdom Hearts, my issue is having to play through every single game in the series just to understand the story, and to be honest, I just don't have that much time to do that. But compared to a series like Ratchet & Clank, which has about the same number of games, I wouldn't have an issue with that, because the first few games are more episodic, while the PS3 games, more specifically the Future Saga, have more of an overarching story, so it's much more manageable for me. As for Connor's second question, when do you hope to see the new Crash Bandicoot game announcement? That is a very conveniently timed question, because at the time of recording this video, Xbox had put out an official date on their Xbox Series X showcase event, set for next Thursday, May 7th at 8 AM Pacific Time and 11 AM Eastern Time. And what's interesting about this announcement is that third-party PS5 games, aka multi-platform games, will be debuting their first ever pieces of gameplay at this Inside Xbox event. Well, Crash just so happens to be a third-party IP because it belongs to Activision, so it's possible that the new Crash Bandicoot console game will make its grand debut there. But there's a problem, and that's PlayStation's heavy involvement with Crash's marketing since his grand return, usually involving some sort of exclusivity and now the time to play advertising. However, if Crash does not get revealed during this Xbox event, then it'll most likely be during the PlayStation 5 event, which is supposedly going to take place in June, so we'll have to see how that goes. Third and final question from Connor. Will you ever do Let's Plays on the channel for the games that you have been covering? I've been considering it, but nothing really solid on that just yet. Maybe once I get a better capture device and setup, who knows? I'll just have to wait and see how that goes. Next question comes from Blue Shadow. What do you think Activision has planned for Spyro for the next few years? I'm actually working on a video concerning Spyro's future. It should be going up in a couple of days at least, but to prevent spoiling that video, I recommend staying tuned for that video. The next question comes from Platinum Games Theory. I really hope I pronounced that right, and it's a Sonic related question, saying, if you could choose any developer to remake Sonic Adventure 1, who would it be? That's actually a really tough question because there are so many good development studios out there that could do it, but also might not do it. If we're talking like a Crash or Spyro styled remake or remaster, then I could imagine Sonic Team doing just fine with it, especially when we take into account that select levels and the perfect chaos battle from Sonic Adventure were basically remade from the ground up in Sonic Generations with updated movesets, visuals, and music. But if not Sonic Team, then I can see a fan studio heading the project, kinda like how Sega brought on Pagoda West Games and Headcanon to do Sonic Mania, while Sonic Team worked on Forces, which, well, performed the way it did. Next question comes from KVS Makes Videos for Life, saying, do you think Jak and Daxter and Sly Cooper will come back for the PS5? Well, I've been theorizing about these for quite some time, and I think yes. and the reason being is that Sly Cooper still has a TV show coming. Eventually. So what better time to release the new game, whether that's Sly 5 or a remade trilogy in the vein of Crash or Spyro, than alongside the TV show. As for Jak and Daxter, that's definitely looking a lot more slim, but I never rule out the possibility of the duo's return, considering that Sony has been showing a rather big interest in Jak and Daxter lately. Remember those special physical PS4 collector's editions by Limited Run Games last year, which have long been sold out? Then to ultimately troll us with the Jak 4 mock case? It still hurts! Then there's also the fact that there was a planned film in the works back in 2017 when the Sly Cooper movie was still being worked on. Just think about why Sony is having this level of interest with the series. To this day, the series is still one of PlayStation's most iconic franchises, up there with Sly Cooper and Ratchet & Clank. Heck, even Jak 2 was brought up during the Road to PS5 stream, where Mark Cerny was talking in depth about the PS5's features. Now, this doesn't confirm in any way, shape, or form that Jak and Daxter is coming to the PlayStation 5. It was just used as an example that they were using, if I'm not mistaken. But we should also take into account that the franchise's 20th anniversary is next year, December 2021 to be exact, which will be about a year into the PlayStation 5's life cycle, and seeing how well anniversary titles do, it could very well be announced towards the end of this year and released for the PlayStation 5 next year, just in time for the anniversary. I mean, there are already rumors that the next Spider-Man game will release in the same holiday 2021 timeframe, so it's not that far-fetched to believe. And the final two questions for today's episode comes from Joshua Sage. The first one being, will this new rumored Crash game really come out this year? I'm going to go ahead and say yes. Just by looking at all the leaks, rumors, PlayStation's heavy involvement with Crash's marketing, now the mobile game, which I'm sure will receive a full worldwide launch once something is revealed concerning the next console game. As of right now, it's in a testing stage. As I've said before, it'll likely be used as promotional material for said game, and that's not even counting the Activision pattern of 6 to 7 months from reveal to launch, which we've talked about in the community for quite some time. As for your second question, will Sly Cooper continue the story where they left off in the new 5th installment? I'm really hoping that they do, because Sly's been stuck in Egypt for about 7 years now, and that honestly feel like the best move to make. But there's a problem. It's been 7 years since Sly 4 released, and that right there could be a big issue, because there'll be fans who play Sly 5 to only be possibly confused while playing it, like, why is Sly in Egypt? With Sly 4, this wasn't as much of an issue because most of the fans I'm sure played the previous free games either on the PS2 or via the HD collection on PS3 and Vita, so they were all caught up on the story when Sly 4 released. But due to releasing 8 years later and being one of the last PS3 exclusives before transitioning to the PS4, most likely affecting the sales for this game, which strangely sold better than Ratchet & Clank Into the Nexus, but Sony I guess wasn't happy with the sales of the game, so Sly 4's Egypt DLC, nor Sly 5, were ever greenlit because of it. Yet Sony still had interest in keeping the series alive with a movie and a TV show, which we're still waiting for. So yeah, I'd like for them to continue the story. But what's best for the series? Well, release an HD collection, ports, or remasters, either one, for the current 4 games first, so they can see how much life the series has before continuing with Sly 5. Anyways guys, that's going to pretty much do it for today's episode. And if you have any questions you guys would like me to answer, just post them down below in the comments section for this video, and I'll do my best to include as many as I possibly can in next week's episode. Just don't ask me anything personal because I won't answer it if it is. But that's all the time I've got for this question and answers episode. Thank you all so much for tuning in to this first episode. I really appreciate it and the support that you guys have done for this channel in the past 2 years. It's truly amazing. Be sure to stay tuned to the channel for not only next week's episode, but also other content ranging from Sonic, SpongeBob, Crash, Spyro, Ratchet & Clank, and these other platforming franchises, all coming your way, so you won't want to miss it. Once again, thank you all so much for watching and supporting the channel. I've been Blueknight, and I'll see you guys back here next time. Goodbye!
Yes.